Welcome to Ground Control. I want to reintroduce you guys to the Glue and Fly Series F-22 Mini version 3. This is another high performance DIY F-22 Parkjet, just like its little brother, the F-22 Micro, which I just recently reintroduced. So before I give you the specifications on it, I'll just tell you that it's a 22-inch wingspan F-22 Parkjet. It's made out of Adams Ready board. I'll show you a couple of demonstration flights, which I just performed this morning. And then when we come back, I'll give you all the specifications on it. And you will not believe the build cost on this. Alright, so I'll see you out the field.
Okay folks, let's get our Glue and Fly Series DIY F-22 Mini version 3 in the air. I love this Parkjet. Alright, launching. That was 50% throttle. You really only need about 45% throttle to launch it with this power system. This is another very well behaved, very stable, very high performance DIY Parkjet. I think I have about between 200 and 250 flights on it so far. It has a very wide flight envelope. You can fly it fairly slowly. And I have to say my two F-22 Parkjets, the Micro and the Mini, outperform any of the factory planes that I have as far as thrust to weight ratio, maneuverability. Alright, so we'll come back through here and we'll take a look at the vertical with it. And I won't get a run at it. What do you guys think? Now I only let it go so far because I don't want to lose orientation on it, but it would keep going. I'm running a 3S 1300 milliamp hour 30C Lipo that weighs 106 grams. So what did you think of that vertical? It has unlimited vertical. It's just an awesome Parkjet, you know, and you know, for being able to build an airframe like this for about $1 and then being able to select your own components, you know, makes it really high performing. It's pretty fast for a foam board Parkjet, just like its little brother, the Micro. And I really like the color scheme I've got on here because it's really visible in the air. So what do you guys think of this little foam board Parkjet so far? Pretty cool, huh? I absolutely love flying this Parkjet. But I mean, it tracks extremely well. It's got a KF4 airfoil on it. It holds its line. It's very stable. very well behaved. I put a lot of wing area on it, more than, you know, a scale version of the F-22, because I also wanted to have really good maneuverability and good slow flight capability with it. Maneuverability for me is more important than speed, although it is a pretty speedy little park jet, especially considering it's only made out of Adam's Ready board. Look at that. That has just got tons and tons of power. Okay, so I'm starting to get my haptic. And I haven't really been too hard in the throttle, just at times, and then cruising around. I would say most of the time. We'll bring it back around and land it. There goes my timer. And then we'll check the voltage in the cell on these little 3S 1300 milliamp hour 30C Lipo packs. There we go. Alright, so let's take it up here and check the voltage in it. Normally I'm a lot harder in the throttle on my flights than I was on that flight, but I also wanted to demonstrate, you know, how stable it is at slow speed, and the fact that you can fly it slowly, not just fast, you know, ripping up the sky all the time. So the amount of wing area on it really allows you to do that. Alright, so let's pull the pack out and see what the voltage is. And this is another extremely simple build, guys. Let me turn off my transmitter here. Okay, so let's check the voltage on it. That was, what, a 5-minute flight, I think. Okay, so here we go. 3.8, 3.8, 3.8. So, yeah, flying the way I was flying, you could probably get about an 8-minute flight off of it. I could normally get a 6-minute flight out of it, leaving a little bit in reserve, flying it the way I normally fly it. So it's not only high performance, but you get a pretty decent amount of flight time at the same time. So
Okay, so what did you guys think of the flight demonstration? How's that for power and performance? And you see how stable it was in the air, high speed and at low speed. And it has a very wide flight envelope. Now, because of the area that I have to land, I have to put landing skids on mine. And I actually had landing skids on the front, but that terrain out there kept ripping it off. So I actually put dual wheels in the front, and I kind of have skis in the back on it. And I think I'm going to replace those with a couple of foam wheels, just so it tracks straight when it lands instead of spinning around. But yeah, I had to add those. So on your build, if you can land on grass, then you're not going to need any additional landing skids. You're not going to need any wheels. So you could probably knock off about 20 grams off of the weight of the airframe. The components that I'm flying with, I have a Racerstar SIC 2207 2688 kV motor. I have an Rctimer 6x3 composite high efficiency sport prop. It's also sold under the KMP brand, under the EMP brand, so you can find them in several places, but I've got links to the motor, to the prop in the show notes. The servos that I'm using are G-Tech 9-gram analog nylon gear servos, but I just recently tested the Racerstar SG90 9-gram nylon gear servos, and those work just as well, so I have links to those in the show notes, because they have really increased the price on these G-Techs if you can get them when they're in stock. And so those will work just as well. I have an old Turnigy plush 30 amp speed controller in mine, but one of the one of the go-to ESCs that I really like now that I've been purchasing are the Volantex Easy Plug ESCs. So I have a link to the 30 amp speed controller for the Volantex Easy Plug, and it's ready to go. That's why they call it an Easy Plug. It already has 3.5 millimeter bullets already soldered on. So all you're going to have to do is solder on the 3.5 millimeter bullets onto the motor. And the Easy Plug ESC comes with an XT60 connector. The batteries that I recommend for this have XT60 connectors. So the weight that I like to fly this at is between, let me see, I've got the numbers written down here. The weight of the airframe with all the components that I have in it, plus the landing skids and the landing gear in the front, is 247 grams. That's with the receiver as well. This is an Elevon only plane. It only has 2 servos, and you saw how maneuverable it was with just Elevons. And so mechanically it's very simple. You only have 3 channels, so you only need a 4-channel receiver. Now I have a 6-channel receiver in this because that's the smallest receiver I had. So the weight of the plane with everything except for the lipo, including my landing skids, was 247 grams. Now the weight that I like to fly it at is between 350 to 360 grams all up weight. That's where it feels the best to me. Feels the most locked in without being too light or too heavy. So the battery that I like to fly with is the Turnigy 3S 1300 milliamp hour 30C LiPo. It weighs 106 grams. That puts my all up weight at 353 grams. But if you're not having to put the landing gear and the landing skids on it, I mean, if I didn't have those on there, then I would be using one of my 3S 1300 milliamp hour 35C LiPos, which weighs 125 grams. So the motor is rated for a 3S or 4S. Let me see. Here's the thrust. The thrust on that 3S LiPo with that motor in the prop is 954 grams. It's pulling 26.7 amps at full throttle, which gives it an efficiency of 2.8 grams per watt, which is pretty darn good considering the amount of thrust it puts out. That gives it a 2.7 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, which is why I can come in at just about an idle, pull vertical, hit the throttle, and go straight up for as long as the battery will hold on to its voltage, way past unlimited vertical. So you don't have to have a motor that powerful. You can always put a smaller, less expensive motor on it, but I can tell you that with 350 to 360 grams all up weight, in order to have unlimited vertical, from everything that I read, you need a minimum of a 1.8 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, so keep that in mind. Okay, so are you ready for, and the bind and fly cost on this, which is everything except for the receiver and the LiPo, that's the cost I'm going to give you. When I built this, which was 3 years ago, I think, it was low 30s. It was like $32 or $33. Now the cost of the components has gone up since then. But the motor that I quoted is $20. The ESC, the Volantex Easy Plug ESC 30 amp ESC is $19. The prop you buy in a 5-pack, a single prop, including the shipping, is approximately $2. The servos buy in a 6-pack. 2 of those servos, because the price of 6 is about the same price as buying 2, so you might as well get 4 spares, right? So the price of 2 servos is $6. The airframe is made out of about 1.5 sheets of Adams Ready board, which is $1.50. Counting in the glue, you've got an airframe for about $2. Your not bind and fly, but your plug and fly cost on this plane is $49. Can you believe that? And I just got those prices today on those components. $49 is what it costs to build this, including the airframe, including the glue. Now you're going to have to use some markers or something to paint it up, but I didn't include that. But I would say that's a pretty high performance plane for $49 for a plug and fly build. not bad at all. And I think my receiver was about 12 bucks. My battery, I think, was about 18. So, what, 70 bucks? With the battery, the flight battery and everything? Okay, so, anyway, links to all the components will be in the show notes. Links to the plans will be in the show notes. I do not have tiled plans yet. I may have those available by the time I post this video. If not, then I will have them available in the next week or two. I have the full-size plans, I just haven't had a chance to create tiled plans yet. And all the associated documentation is in there. So anyway, build it, fly it, you're gonna love it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.